The Tour of Britain gets underway. Stellar performance here then by Bradley Wiggins. Simon Yates coming up to the line. What a ride! Oh! What a tight finish that was.
Hello, we're in Newark-on-Trent in Nottinghamshire for the finish of Stage 4 of the 2017 OVO Energy Tour of Britain. It is prime Robin Hood country around here, which is ironic because yesterday in North Lincolnshire it was a band of 5 merry Brits who stole an awful lot of the screen time from under the noses of their rich World Tour cousins.
Historic Normanby Hall in North Lincolnshire provided another beautiful setting for the peloton to roll out from. The finish in Scunthorpe was only 8 kilometres away, but the riders had a damn 176 kilometres to contend with first, winding through the flat countryside. Straight away, the continental teams were desperate to escape under the grey skies. Bike Channel Canyon's James Losley Williams looked likely until he came a cropper on a slippery corner. Eventually 5 Brits made it stick, including 2 from JLT Condor, and once again Matt Holmes from Madison Genesis stretching his legs like he did on his Stage 2 efforts. The peloton settled down under the calming influence of Geraint Thomas on the front. Up the road, Ian Bibby and Graham Briggs set about grabbing as many points as they could in both the Iceberg Sprints and the Skoda King of the Mountains competitions, and they managed it. Job done with both jerseys confirmed. Briggs eased up, and with 10 kilometres to go, Ian Bibby and One Pro's Pete Williams were finally caught. The sprint teams jostled for position into the last few kilometres, with another big British name in Mark Cavendish pulling for his team, but it would be the big all-rounders driving uphill to the finish.
Luca Mies gets now trying to set up for Caleb Ewan. Edvald Boasson-Hagen is here. Here comes Caleb Ewan into the slipstream of Gilbert and past. Boasson-Hagen is there. He's through the centre. It's Caleb Ewan. Is he going to take his second stage victory of the week? It's close yet again between him and Edvald Boasson-Hagen. The throw to the line. The Orica Scott sprinter just ahead from Edvald Boasson-Hagen of Team Dimension Data, who's obviously in great form, and Alexander Kristoff in third. Elliot Viviani drops to second place in the general classification, with the Tour of Britain overall winner from 2009 and 2015, Edvald Boasson-Hagen, lying in wait in third.
Something quite poetic about Caleb Ewan with green on his shoulders racing through Sherwood Forest. With me now is the Sheriff of Nottingham, to my guy of Gisborne, Janto Barker once more. Janto, being serious for a second, JLT Condor rode a really canny race yesterday.
They did. They got 2 guys in the breakaway and they made that count. They took almost all the points, both for the sprints and the mountains classification, with a great teamwork between Ian Bibby and Graham Briggs, and it was good to see.
Huge platform for them as well, and the rest of the continental teams.
Yeah, they take it very seriously. There's a huge platform and there's a lot of competition, but they bossed it yesterday's stage.
Really good field, in fact, at this year's Tour of Britain, probably the best ever. The World Tour teams, of course, just keeping their powder dry as we get towards the business end of GC, heading towards Cardiff on Sunday. But as Janto said there, for the domestic teams, this is the biggest stage of the year for them. So we had a sneak peek behind the scenes on the One Pro Cycling Tour bus. Rob Hales managed to get on it.
So obviously, stage 4 today, Mansfield to Newark-on-Trent. Only 1 KOM today, at 122.5k, it's a pretty flat stage. And then the 3 intermediate sprints at 59k, 107.5 and 147.7. This is an A road here, but then all this is narrow lanes here, about 5k in. So you need to kind of make the break could go quite quickly again. With it only being a short stage, it could pop off fairly early. And our aim really is we want to stay away for at least kind of the first 2 sprints, pick up those points, keep chipping away at those sprint points, and then running into the finish, I think we steal. Same as we did yesterday, we're really well positioned there. So let's just kind of make sure we're thinking about that from 15k out. Anyone any questions?
Yeah, so pretty easy straight to go on.
Yeah, this is a very big road.
So, yeah.
Good luck, guys.
Yanto, I just want to focus on Chris Lawless for a second, the Adnams Best British Rider at the Tour of Britain all week, currently the under-23 national road racing champion as well, and he's just signed for Sky. He really is an exciting prospect, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the full package. There's a lot that goes into being a professional bike rider: the mentality, the physiology, the psychology, and the commitment and discipline to apply yourselves well away from the racing where no one's really looking. And he does that, and he's done that for a number of years, which has got him to the level that he's at.
He's racing here for the Great Britain team, but he's come through the development squad in the States of Action Hagen's Berman, which is the team run by Axel Merckx, Eddie Merckx's team. They also developed Theo Geoghegan-Hart, and way back when it was Alex Dowsett who raced for them as well. That's a really good grounding for a young racer. Yeah,
they're giving the riders more than just the racing. They're giving them experience and the mentality and how to approach each race and how to approach your professional career, and just by the merit of the number of riders that have come up through that team, that you can see that it's been done well.
Let's have a closer look now at what awaits the riders today on stage 4 that sets out from Mansfield.
Nottinghamshire is the venue for stage 4 of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. Starting for the first time in Mansfield, the peloton rides for nearly 60 kilometres before the first sprint at Bilsthorpe. Continuing through the Sherwood Forest and its association with Robin Hood, the teams have 2 more chances for iceberg sprint points at Ranskill and Collingham, plus the only categorised climb of the day at Eaton Wood. Then it's on to the finish in Newark-on-Trent. Mansfield is situated at the heart of Robin Hood country and is surrounded by green space, ancient woodland, and is also part of the greater Sherwood Forest area. A market town with 800 years of trading heritage, with a settlement within the Mansfield area dating back all the way to Roman times. Historically known as the Key to the North, Newark played a pivotal role in the English Civil War and was the mainstay of the Royalist cause. The finish in Sconce and Devon Park is the site of the Queen's Sconce, which was an earthen fort from the 17th century.
OK, that's quite enough ammunition for your quiver. Maybe we'll keep the Robin Hood puns there. So I'll hand you over to our race commentary team of Fryer Smith and Maid Marty McDonald.
Thanks, Matt. The stage today, 164.7 kilometres from Mansfield to Newark-on-Trent. And we've had the traditional jersey lineup on the start line. Caleb Ewan taking the OVO Energy green jersey into today's stage. A 6-second advantage he holds over Elia Viviani, with Edvald Boasson Hagen 7 seconds behind in third. Karol Domagowski still sitting in 4th place for One Pro Cycling at 14 seconds. Sylvain Dillier of BMC at 15 seconds in 6th. Kamil Gradek also of One Pro Cycling. He's level on time with Sylvain Dillier. Alexander Kristoff, he sits 7th at 16 seconds, level with Fernando Gaviria. Lars Bohm, former winner of the race, in 9th at 18 seconds. And Denek Stibar in 10th, 20 seconds down. Great shots of Mansfield Town Football Club, home to the Stags, the oldest ground in the Football League. Good to see Mark Cavendish getting up there and leading out for the sprint yesterday for Edvald Boasson Hagen. He's just riding his way back into form.
Yeah, I think he's doing a very good job. He's got a lot of experience, and obviously coming back after the injury he had during the Tour de France, and with 6 rider teams you have to use everybody. You can't just kind of sit back in the peloton. I don't think he wants to either.
We're going to take a short break. Back soon. Welcome back to stage 4 of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. Kilometre 0, we are underway, we are racing here on stage 4 of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain from Mansfield to Newark-on-Trent. And going into this stage, Caleb Ewan, it's a flat stage, 6-second advantage over Elia Viviani, 7 seconds over Edvald Boasson Hagen. 2 stage victories already this year in the OVO Energy Tour of Britain has Caleb Ewan. Could it be another sprint finish for him today?
Although it's fairly flat for most of the stage today, it's quite a lumpy start. It's up and down quite a lot until we get to the likes of Worksop later on in the day.
Great crowds, really, everyone really celebrating the OVO Energy Tour of Britain as it comes past. As we always say, the international riders always amazed by the crowds when they come here to race in Great Britain.
When these strong riders start attacking, you really want to put a rider in the breakaway. You can just see the rider from Team Dimension Data going onto the radio and just asking for some support here at the front. But this is a hard start, and you can see a couple of the Great Britain riders struggling a little bit at the back now. I tell you what, Marty, look at the peloton now. It's all on one line. A few riders starting to struggle at the back. This has been a very difficult start, and possibly the hardest start. And once these riders come back, then a lot of riders will be have some stinging legs, and a great opportunity for the counter-attack to go.
It's a great move here by Kwiatkowski. Now he goes, and again you can see Dimension Data.
It's an attack this time, and that's what they have to do. And I think it's Bernie Eisel trying to come with one of the Cannondale riders. So it has put the cat amongst the pigeons.
Great shots across the countryside today. A real fast start to stage 4. And everyone expecting a flat stage and again another bunch sprint, but early on lots of attacks, but you can see straight away the pressure now goes off the front. And Mark McNally with one rider from Silence trying to come across.
Yeah, it does look as if this is the breakaway of the day.
Now, with the breakaway up the road, some got frustrated that they weren't in it and took matters into their own hands. James Lowesley-Williams of Bike Channel Canyon decided to hop out of the peloton and onto the pavement, closely followed by Silence's Brian Lewis. The pair of them tried to bridge the gap, but not before they were stopped by the commissaires. They'd broken the rules, and these are rules that the UCI has been hot on all season long. The pair of the riders were both ejected from the race, disqualified.
And they're heading towards the first iceberg sprint of the day in Bilsthorpe. The line coming at 105.7 kilometres to go. Graham Briggs leading in the competition ahead of Karol Domagalski, Sylvain Dillier, but all important is the bonus seconds as well for Rich Handley, who's in the breakaway group from Madison Genesis at 62nd in the general classification, just 20 seconds off the lead of Caleb Ewan. So for Handley and the Madison Genesis team, he's got his teammate in here as well in Alexander Blaine, and they will try and set this one up to try and take some bonus seconds. You see Ali Slater on the back. It's his teammate Briggs that leads in this competition and also in the Skoda King of the Mountains. So Ali Slater's job here today is to try and defend the jerseys, and he looks on the back now. He looks like he's going to set this one up.
Yeah, very much looks like Alistair Slater is looking at it. 1 kilometre to go to that sprint point, the first of today. But I think Alex Blaine might want to put himself in the picture now, because if he can take all 3 sprints, a very good sprinter, the Frenchman, and Handley has got everything to take here with the being the best place in the general classification. But I think Handley wants to set up Alex Blaine. Alex Blaine, if he can take all 3 sprints, will take 9 points, and if he can get in a breakaway in another day, might feature. And I think Madison Genesis are looking at this Iceberg Sprints jersey as well. So Alistair Slater just at the back, he's just looking around. He has to try and take some points.
Slater now jumps to the right-hand side of the road. The JLT Condor rider trying to take the breakaway by surprise. Mark McNally, he already has points in this classification. He sits 5th after his breakaway on the opening day. McNally grinds his way up to Ali Slater. Slater looks around, sees that McNally's with him. Good early move here by the JLT Condor rider to try and take maximum points. McNally, though, comes off the wheel for the Wanty Group Gobert team. Good move now by McNally, and he takes maximum points through the first sprint.
Yeah, a good opportunity there for McNally to add some points to the points he already got in the first stage in Scotland, and he was the danger man, and that's why Alistair Slater tried to catch them out in that roundabout and take the points away to help his teammate Graham Briggs.
And see who crossed the line in third. Jacob Scott's on the front at the moment. We'll wait for confirmation of that one. So Mark McNally going in with 5 points in the competition this morning. That moves him up to second. So good performance. As we've said, he's a former King of the Mountains in this race. And could target this one as the race goes on. Your breakaway group still holding a good 3 minutes and 11 seconds here. You can see the commissaire just coming up alongside our leading group. And our peloton, you can see that as the stage going on, the shift in speed between the peloton and the work that they're having to do to control a breakaway. You're fully committed to the goal of trying to stay away for as long as possible. Coming through Harworth and Burcoats here. And Harworth and Burcoats is the former home of legendary cyclist Tom Simpson. And race director Mick Bennett and Leah Ruth this morning on the start of stage 4 to commemorate 50 years since Tom Simpson passed away on Mont Ventoux in the Tour de France. And there's the monument that can be found on Scrooby Road in Harworth, outside the Sports and Social Club, which houses the museum, which is dedicated to his achievements. Simpson won the bronze medal for track cycling in the 1956 Summer Olympics and a silver in the 1958 British Empire and Commonwealth Games. It was the 1962 Tour de France where he became the first British rider to wear the yellow jersey and finished 6th overall. And Tom Simpson would go on to win high-profile races such as Bordeaux, Paris in '63, Milano, Sanremo. And he became the first British World Road Race Champion in 1965, winning the Giro di Lombardia as well, and taking the very prestigious BBC Sports Personality of the Year. And he was the first cyclist to win that award. And all the kids out in the village, just cheering on the race. And Harworth and Burkos here. Mark McNally looking good on the front. So we are about 6 kilometres now from the next iceberg sprint of the day. And these intermediate competitions really being fought over, swinging backwards and forwards each day.
Yeah, it was a big day out for JLT Condor yesterday, but Mark McNally doing a good job so far, taking maximum points in the first iceberg sprint, and if he does likewise over the next 2 sprints, then he puts himself right in the game, and only 1 point behind Graham Briggs. So the competition is hotting up.
Inside 1 kilometre to go to the next intermediate sprint of the day for that iceberg red, white and blue jersey. I'll explain on the front. The first sprint went to Mark McNally of Wanty Group, Gobert ahead of Alistair Slater of JLT Condor, with Alex Blaine in 3rd place, 3, 2 and 1 points. Blaine drops down the group. And Slater has a look back. McNally all to gain now for Mark McNally. And he's
short turn.
Moving up. McNally has a look around. He's a real canny rider, Mark McNally, isn't he?
Yeah, Alistair Slater decides to follow him. He knows Alistair Slater, big job, because he was beaten in the first iceberg sprint. He knows that Mark McNally is stronger and faster than him, but if he can surprise him a little bit, then who knows. But McNally got a point to prove here, and it looks as if it's going to be between the two.
Slater on the back, McNally just concentrating. Jacob Scott just drops behind Alistair Slater now for on-post chain reaction. The 2 Madison Genesis riders on the front, Rich Handley, and now McNally goes for the sprint. Alistair Slater trying to get on him. Good jump here by Mark McNally from Wanty-Gobert. Looks over his shoulder, and Mark McNally makes light work of that sprint. Nicely worked by McNally, nicely timed, and a big smile. So gaining maximum points again, Mark McNally in that sprint.
Just looking here, he took it from the front. Mark McNally and Alistair Slater really couldn't match the speed of McNally. So second sprint goes to McNally from Alistair Slater, with the looks of is a carbon copy of the first sprint, with Blaine taking third.
Mark McNally went into the stage with 5 points. He now sits on 11 to Graham Briggs, the leader, on 15. 56.3 to go. 2:41 is your time gap. Welcome back. Not far away now from the start of the Skoda King of the Mountains point. And you can see Jacob Scott on the front. Alistair Slater here to try and defend this one for his teammate Graham Briggs. And a category 3 climb is Eaton Woods. So 4, 3, 2 and 1 points are on offer at the top of this one. And Jacob Scott sits, as we said a little bit earlier, 22 points. Graham Briggs the leader with 25. So all to play for. One opportunity today for Scott to try and take this jersey.
Yeah, it's 4, 3, 2 and 1 points at the top of this climb, and yet again Alistair Slater will have to come into play here and try and take the maximum points away from the man at the back. Going to be very difficult because Jacob Scott has already proven in the past that he's very capable of winning these sprints.
Scott on the back. Handley drops down the group here, just has a look at the on-post rider, Ali Slater. You can see, just having a look round just to see where the on-post rider is. The team manager will have given him the instructions to try and take the points at the top here. So there's a chance of going level or taking the lead. Alex Blaine out of the saddle on the front for Madison Genesis. McNally also moves through for Wanty-Gobert. McNally, the former King of the Mountains in the race. Slater looked like he was about to make the move. Scott moves up on the inside now in the green of on-post chain reaction. He's just looking for the summit. It's going to be a fairly fast run to the top of this one. Scott just has a look around just to make sure that he can control this group. McNally on the front, leading out. Handley, Scott, Slater and Blaine. McNally has a look around. Handley takes over. You can see the time gap holding at 2:23. Slater now goes. Scott's got to be vigilant here, and good move now. Scott into the slipstream, so the on-post chain reaction rider, JLT Condor, trying to defend the jersey of Graham Briggs, but here goes Scott. Scott, good power for the on-post chain reaction rider. He's going to take maximum points over the top of the Skoda King of the Mountains points. And we saw him in the breakaway on day one, and a real roar there from Jacob Scott as he crested the summit. And he's worked hard for that one. Has a look back over his shoulder. And it shows just how much it means to a rider as well. You can see that's the target that he set out for today. And nice sign there from Jacob Scott.
He has looked strong throughout the race so far. Picked up 1 point yesterday and now leads this Skoda King of the Mountains competition by 1 point from overnight leader Graham Briggs.
Elia Viviani is the rider just on the back of the Sky train there, just in front of the Orica Scott riders with the yellow helmets. Viviani's wearing that Wiggle Points jersey today, so watch out for that come the finish. Here come BMC in those black and red jerseys. You see that Swiss champions jersey as well of Sylvain Dillier. He sits 5th overall, and Dillier, good time trialist is Sylvain Dillier, along with his teammate Stefan Kung. Both of those riders have been very active so far in the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. Dillier will be looking for the time trial tomorrow. Stefan Kung, very fast time trialist. He sits 23rd overall, 20 seconds down. And looking at the front as well, Quick Step Floors in those blue and white jerseys are also very much to the front.
Well, it's lined out a lot more at the front of the peloton. Robert Power is still there for Orica Scott. 20 kilometres to go now for the 5 riders in front, and they've got that bit between their teeth now. They want to try and stay away for the final and try and get as close to the finish as possible. But they know there's a hard chase coming behind. Team Dimension Data have also added Scott Thwaites to the front of the main peloton. So obviously it's going to be touch and go now. 2 minutes inside the last 20 kilometres now.
So you just see the arm there of Kyle Murphy. Tattoo on his arm for the Silence team from the USA. Back to the front, look at the face of Alex Blaine, really digging deep here for Madison Genesis. Such an important rider for that team. As Mike Northey said, 36 years old is Alex Blaine from Aix-en-Provence. Some good victories in the UK in his career, the Rutland and the Tour of Dengie Marshes as well he's won in the past. Jacob Scott's, his focus now shifts from that Skoda King of the Mountains that he was targeting in the stage today. It's now all about trying to stay away to the finish. It's a great moment for the breakaway riders, trying to outfox the sprinters teams and hold this one to the finish. And the peloton just heading through Besthorpe. As we've had all day, great crowds along the routes. Marcin Biablocki there in the orange, number 171, just trying to keep the legs fresh for tomorrow. Just pedalling along on the back. The peloton go through, 20 kilometres to go for the peloton. The gap just coming inside 2 minutes for the first time, so it's a little by little. 1 kilometre to go to the next iceberg sprint of the day. We're into Collingham Village. Mark McNally in the blue and fluorescent yellow here for Wanty Group Gobert. Moving up in that competition. Day 1 in the breakaway. Back in the move today to try and target that jersey. He's going to finish today. He's been sprinting well on these intermediate competitions.
I tell you what, Marty, looking at this and the way Mark McNally's riding at the moment, it looks as if they've had a word with each other and they're going to continue on working with each other instead of battling out. They could lose 20-30 seconds by finessing and losing a little bit of energy. I thought they would do this, so it looks as if they've given the opportunity here to McNally to gain maximum points here at this final sprint of the day, so that they can continue on the effort, because they have a fighting chance of staying away. I'm just saying a fighting chance, but when you've got a fighting chance, you want to put all your energy into that. So Mark McNally has been propped in the front just inside the last kilometre and going to take maximum points here.
Mark McNally keeps the pressure nice and high. They've, you see there, just trying to ride through this point, just keeping the fluidity of the breakaway group. And as he crosses the line, so McNally from Blaine, and it looks like Jacob Scott crossed the line there in 3rd place. Mark McNally, another maximum points there for Wanty Group Gobert. A fighting chance of trying to stay away. 1 minute and 42 seconds. A windy day out here on the stage from Mansfield to Newark-on-Trent.
I think it was a good call there by Tim Kenyock behind, just to say to Alistair Slater, don't go battling with the points here. We have got a fighting chance to try and stay away. The stage, or even finishing up there in the stage, is more important, and possibly trying to battle it out with McNally for these Iceberg Sprints points. So the intelligent move by these 5 riders, staying together. Team time trial now against the main peloton, still holding them off 1 minute and 41 seconds with 16 kilometres to go. You got to remember, it's flat all the way in towards the finish. They have a fighting chance, and I tell you what, the peloton have to start working hard.
And it's always interesting, you just see that the way that move went 154 kilometres from the finish. Then there's almost that standoff. The peloton hold them at that 3 minutes, and then we just click over that 40 kilometre to go mark, where the peloton decide the sprinters teams want to bring it back down for a sprint, and then the breakaway start to battle. So now we have this battle of wheels going backwards and forwards between our breakaway group and the peloton behind.
The thing is, they've got shelter as well. There's plenty of wooded areas on the way in towards Newark-on-Trent, and it's going to benefit the 5 riders in front. And you know, we've said it all along, you have to be in it to win it.
Just going past the John Blow Primary School there, so getting out into the fields. With 15.1k to go, we're going to take a short break. Back soon. The familiar figure of Geraint Thomas's second wheel here, those white glasses for Team Sky, now comes through to the front. The fast man, the real powerhouse, and try and line this one up for Elia Viviani. And you can see Thiago Machado grimacing his second wheel here behind Geraint Thomas. A big shift in the pace on the front. The aerial shot of our breakaway group, you can see just a little bit ragged now. They're looking tired after their efforts today. There's the helicopter. It pans back to our peloton. And some field art there. That's quite incredible. A bit of sheep field art. Very clever. 28 seconds is the time gap back from our breakaway group. They're looking for that 5 kilometre to go board across the road. Jacob Scott presses through to the front for en post chain reaction. Slater from JLT Condor, they're still holding the gap, still fully committed to trying to stay away to the finish. This one could come right down to the final 1.5 kilometres. Handley has a look at Slater as he drops back down through the group. McNally presses on for Wanty Group Gobert. A great aerial shot. It's Scott Thwaite still doing the damage on the front of the peloton for Dimension Data. Geraint Thomas and Thiago Machado sat with him, so it's 4 riders on the front of the peloton against 5. And Scott Thwaite, he's done some big turns on the front as well. Inside 5 kilometres to go for the race today. Still holding 16 seconds. There's the peloton behind. This breakaway group are not going to give up without a fight. Geraint Thomas on the front for Team Sky.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be a hard take for the 5 riders in front. Jacob Scott, Alex Blaine, Richard Handley, Alistair Slater and Mark McNally. Tremendous amount of work put into today. 2 of them, Jacob Scott, will be happy with their performance today, taking the Skoda King of the Mountains jersey, and also Mark McNally taking the maximum points on today's stage in the Iceberg Sprints jersey to go second in that competition. But these 5 riders have put a fighting performance on today, and they have to hold their heads high because they've done that performance, but they're going to be brought back in the sight of the finish.
Luke Durbridge now taking a move across the right-hand side of the road for Orica Scott. Here comes CCC Sprandi Polkovice in those bright orange jerseys, the bright orange bikes and matching shoes for them. Quick Step Floors in the blue and white move up. Durbridge, big turn done by the Orica Scott man. He swings off. It's now down to just 5 seconds. Cannondale Drapac moving up in the bright green colours. There's Patrick Bevan in the centre of your picture. Here come the Great Britain cycling team. They're trying to deliver Chris Lawless through towards the front. Almost 3 kilometres to go now. A gutsy move by our breakaway group, hanging on for longer than any breakaway in the race so far. And heartache for them. They are swept up not far from the finish. And it's the Great Britain team here, 3 kilometres out, just maybe a little bit early to hit the front here, Brian, for Great Britain, with just one rider in front of Lawless.
Yeah, they're hoping that Lawless stays in a good position here, and they'll get some help from some of the riders behind. Philip Gilbert, I don't think he'll be attacking today. He's sitting in front of Stebar. I think they're going to look after Gaviria today. Gaviria, we said, will start to feel better and better as this race goes on. But behind Gaviria, you've got the European champion in the white jersey, Christoph. He's chosen Gaviria and Quick Step Floors in the blue to ride behind. He hasn't had any success so far in the sprints competition, and the final sprint using his own lead out. So he's trying to use someone else's.
Team Sky on the left of your picture. Elia Viviani in that Wiggle Points jersey moves through. Here come Lotte Jumbo on the right. They're trying to set the sprint up for Dylan Groenewegen. On the left of your picture, you have dimension data just at the bottom of your picture. Fernando Gaviria has got Christoph with him. Andrea Pasqualon is trying to come up for Wanty Group. Gobert just got a glimpse of Dylan Groenewegen in the black and yellow jersey, just being brought up towards the front. Here he comes now, number 91 in the black and yellow. Chris Lawless manages to hold a strong position at the front. A wine duel for Team Sky in the centre. Jos van Emden on the front as they go side and side of the road furniture. Harry Tanfield is up there as well, the red number of Bike Channel Canyon. They swing left. Big glance over the shoulder just to see where Viviani is on the run-in. Gaviria just wrestles his way up to the wheel of Max Ricchesi. Steele von Hoff moving through for One Pro Cycling. Good move by the Aussie. Here comes Caleb Ewan, your green jersey, as the leader of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain.
And this time it's Roger Kluger that's leading out the green jersey of Caleb Ewan. I don't think Lucas Meesgets can get up there, but a very messy sprint. Gaviria is now on the wheel of Christoph. And it's Mark Cavendish that's moving up to Caleb Ewan's wheel. And I cannot see Edvard Boasson-Hagen at the moment.
Mark Cavendish, is this the day that Mark Cavendish finds his sprinting legs again? On the front, Roger Kluger from Orica Scott. Caleb Ewan right on the wheel. 1 kilometre to go in towards the finish here in Newark-on-Trent. It's Kluger with Ewan, Cavendish, Stebar, Groenewegen and Christoph as they come out of that right-hander. They're getting very close to the finish. Fernando Gaviria, they're still trying to keep him up towards the front. Christopher Lawless and Harry Tanfield flying the flag for the British team. Steele von Hoff for One Pro Cycling, just trying to find his way through, and Viviani is still there. Just flicks a little elbow out as he senses someone coming alongside him. Cavendish sits up and has a look around. Kluger now on the front. Here goes Stebar. Can Quick Step Floor set this one up for Fernando Gaviria? Ricchesi takes over as they look to try and launch Gaviria to the line. Viviani is there. Fernando Gaviria is on the front. Elia Viviani is trying to come through. It's between Gaviria and Viviani. Christoph is there and Groenewegen on the left.
It was Stebar that was sitting waiting for behind Mark Cavendish. Mark Cavendish looking behind to see where Edvard was, but Stebar set it up. Ricchesi was in second place, Gaviria on the wheel, and then we see Groenewegen and Viviani bumping and barging. At that point, Caleb Ewan realised that Gaviria was the rider's wheel to take. Christoph comes up the left-hand side, but for some reason Caleb Ewan decides to sit up there. Then it was a drag race, headwind drag race between Viviani and Gaviria. Groenewegen coming up strongly, so was the European champion on the left-hand side, but Gaviria just had enough energy through the bike, take the win. Viviani second, Christoph third, with Groenewegen in fourth. Another epic sprint here in the OVO Energy Tour of Britain.
So confirmation of the victory for Fernando Gaviria of Quick Step Floors from Elia Viviani of Team Sky. And on third place for European champion Alexander Kristoff of Team Katusha. The Colombian sprinter becomes the third different fast man to take the podium in this year's OVO Energy Tour of Britain. In the general classification, it's a change again at the top, with Elia Viviani taking over from Caleb Ewan thanks to his bonus seconds in Newark-on-Trent. The Italian could enjoy the moment on the podium this time as he put on the green leader's jersey.
Quickstep do amazing job in the final. When I see 300 meters to go and Stibar and Richese is again in the front, I think it's a short sprint, but yeah, a little bit uphill finish. I never up and down every chance to win, and then I try over the line to the line, and yeah, it was really close. Disappointed because it's always good to win and not finish second, but I think I continue in my good moment and with a good sprint. So I have a leader jersey now, so we need to defend tomorrow, and the time trial 16 is not so long, where it's a distance where I can try to defend. For sure the time trialists give me around 40 seconds, 1 minute, the best time trialist. So we have already 20-second bonus, and we try also in the last 3 stages to defend and do a good GC.
He also takes over in the Wiggle points classification. There is also a change in the Skoda King of the Mountains, with Jacob Scott taking over from Graham Briggs. Briggs does hold on to the Iceberg Sprints jersey though, after his efforts on stage 3. The final change is for the Adnam's best British rider. Richard Handley is now at the top of that competition, and at one point he was the virtual leader of the Tour on the road to Newark.
Been a good day. We got me and Blaine there as well, so 2 in the 5-man move. It wasn't really the aim to go looking for seconds, but it's a nice bit to on the side. We've been trying to get in the moves and get the name out there.
So another fascinating sprint finish here into Newark, but a lot of interesting work done in the breakaway today. Jacob Scott from Ampos Chain Reaction has joined Yanto and me here at the finish. And Jacob, it was looking like the breakaway could just about stick. What conversations were being had amongst the 5 of you?
I guess there wasn't really many conversations. We're all pretty much on the limit, but I think Mark McNally was the driving force behind the motivation. In the breakaway towards the end, he was always, sort of telling us what to do, commanding the breakaway, and yeah, he's an experienced guy, so best to listen to him. 10
kilometres from the finish, you had a minute advantage on the peloton. Geraint Thomas was there or thereabouts trying to drive them forward. How were your legs feeling at that point?
After the KOM, they were I won't say they were dead beforehand, but yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit to get going. And then a little bit of recovery after the KOM, and then I felt strong towards the end. But yeah, there's only so much you can do when a peloton's chasing you down. So
yeah, congratulations of course on taking the Skoda King of the Mountains jersey off the back of Briggsy from JLT Condor.
I'm interested to know, did you have a word with the guys at all, or did you just go for it on selection? Because you did have points in the competition before today, but what did you say? Or
yeah, no, there was no real words. I sort of knew that Mark McNally wanted the sprints, the points for the sprints. So it was I needed to have a look at him also, because you never know what riders want to do what. And the 2 guys from Madison were being quite quiet, and Alistair Slater jumped early, but I'd seen the banners. And I knew when he went, I was like, oh, he already had a few sprints in the legs. I thought he's gone way too early, so if I get on the wheel, a little bit of time for recovery, and then hit him straight left because the wind was coming from the right still. So yeah, there was it was a lunge for the line. Well, it wasn't a lunge for the line in the end, but yeah, it was a real effort for it, and yeah, sit up after it.
Jacob, really well done on getting that jersey. Just stay there for a second. I want to get your view on this, because tomorrow, well, it's all changed. Stage 5 is a race against the clock.
Stage 5 of this year's OVO Energy Tour of Britain visits a new region as the Essex district of Tendring hosts the individual time trial. Starting and finishing in Clacton-on-Sea, it is a classic 10-mile course, equating to 16 kilometres. It heads along Marine Parade before turning inland on Kings Avenue and the halfway point near Great Holland. The riders then head back towards the seafront and the straight run to the line. Although it's flat, any contenders for the stage win will need to go almost flat out.
Jacob, you've had a lot of time up the road in this year's race so far, so how are the legs in advance of what is going to be a classic Club 10 time trial tomorrow?
Yeah, all right for the moment. I felt, like I said, pretty good in the end, and then, the last 3 kilometres I just thought, there's no need to hang on to the bunch there.
Are you good against the clock?
I'd say my 10-mile time trial course at home is very different to the rest. Usually they're on a flat course or a dual carriageway. Ours is on a very, very rolling course, so I think it might help for tomorrow. But it's a long time since I've ridden the TT bike, and it's a long time since I've done a battle against the clock. So.
Well, we look forward to seeing that. Again, really well done on getting the jersey. Janto, thanks to you. Some of the very best in the world, actually, against the clock are going to be there tomorrow. Alex Dowsett, Geraint Thomas, and the world champion as well, Tony Martin. Live coverage here on ITV4 at 1:45 to midday. Do join us then if you can. Bye-bye for now.